In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a simple, delicate border for a blanket that has, a lot going on. We can frame it beautifully, but it's just a little bit elevated from working something like just a single crochet. So let's get started. It's really easy and you can customize it to whatever size you're making so that it looks proportionate. In this video, I want to show you how to do a really simple blanket border. And this is suited to stitches like this where there's a lot of texture and you don't want your border to detract, but you still want a nice, clean, finished edge. Now, if you do want something a little bit more ornate, I'll put a picture up here for my Harcourt blanket, and that is a two-tone alpine stitch border that's a little more fancy. Now for something like this, for my taste, it would be a bit too busy. Now if you like this pattern, I'll link the actual body of the pattern in the description, but in this video we're just going to be working a simple border. So for a standard border, generally you're going to be single crocheting around to set up the base for your other stitches, and that's what I'm doing here. So I've got my yarn attached. And you want to keep your hook size in mind. So for this, I used a pretty big hook for the yarn size. It's category 4 yarn. I have a 7mm hook. Sometimes you want to go up or down for your border. It's just going to depend on tension, spacing, things like that. And you always want to be sure you have enough stitches so that there's no bunching. So there's really no way to say how many stitches you need. Your pattern might say that you need an odd or even amount of stitches for your design, but for this we're just basing it single crochet on the actual body of work. So I'm just easily putting in. I'm not using anything tight as far as my tension. Nice, easy stitches. And you see in the corners here, you're going to put 3 stitches, no chain spaces, just 3 stitches to make sure that it rounds as you come around each corner. And for bigger blankets, I know this is tedious, but once it's done and you have a beautiful finished edge. Right, so I finished my round and I'm going to slip to join, chain 1, and now I will work half double crochet around the blanket, working 3 stitches into the corner stitch when I get there. And I'll do that with you. Right, I'm in the corner area, so when you look down, unless you've marked your corner stitch, which you certainly can do that if you feel like you won't be able to see it, but I can see mine pretty clearly, I'm going to work 3 half double crochet into this corner stitch. And then just continue working my half double crochet around. And I'm nearing the end of the round, so I'm going to finish my 3 half double crochet in the center corner stitch. my final half double crochet of the round, and I will slip to join, chain 1, and then for this round you'll be working half double crochet, but your placement's going to be different. You're going to work in between the posts like this. So instead of going here into the stitch, you're going to go down under the stitch in between the posts. All right, I'm in my last stitch. And then I'm going to slip to join. Now, if you're making a larger blanket, this one that I have is a kind of a, not a small baby blanket, but it's maybe a stroller size or a crib size. So this will be enough to be in proportion. Now, if you're making a larger blanket, you might want to do another round of that half double crochet that is worked in between the posts. And if not, you're going to do the following: a yarn over, slip stitch, yarn over, go into the sit, not under between the posts, but just into that top like you normally would, into the V up there, and slip. Keep it nice and loose, no buckling. Yarn over, slip stitch. And I always find that turning the hook towards the back makes the slip stitch a little bit easier to work, especially when doing the yarn over slip stitch style of slip stitch. And that gives a little bit more body than a simple slip stitch. You see it looks a little more substantial, and because this stitch of the blanket I'm using has some texture to it, it's a little thicker, it's not just a thin meshy kind of blanket. This complements that instead of looking flat and deflated. Yarn over and slip stitch. Isn't this yarn gorgeous? I used this for my the 4-color method of the plaid blanket. I'll link that somewhere in here if you want to look at it. And so many of you just loved the color. I know blue is such a popular color. I really gravitate towards greens, and it's this Blossom Cakes from Karen, and it's nearly half and half cotton and I think polyester or acrylic. Cotton acrylic. Still a little bit on the warm side. I'm in a warm climate, so this would be too warm for summer, but it's a nice, you know, spring and fall yarn. So yarn over and slip stitch. So let me know if you're going to use this type of border in your project. And some of you may be using this while you're making the Siren Song blanket. Now when you come around the corners as you're working your slip stitch row, do not work the 3 into the center stitch. Just keep going around and work your slip stitches since you're not increasing anymore after this. You just want to finish out your outside edge. Like so.